And hello from Hamilton, where I'm afraid it's rather wet today, and this World Cup match between India and Zimbabwe is going to be a reduced overs affair. A pity, really, because it's a very important game for both sides, Zimbabwe having 4 straight losses, and India, in their 4 games to date, have had the misfortune to have 2 very close losses, one by 1 run to Australia, one by 9 runs to England, and also a no result against Sri Lanka when the game at Mackay in Queensland was washed out. So the Indian team, which came into this tournament so full of promise and so full of hope, have really had so much bad luck, and at the moment only have 3 points from 4 games. Well, the pitch to be used for today's game is the same as that which was used for the game between New Zealand and Sri Lanka here just over a week ago. Let's see how it's come up for this particular match as we go out to the middle now and check on the condition of the strip with our experts.
Well, John, I didn't give us any show at all of playing today, but the rain stopped briefly, they rolled back the covers, and here we are.
Yes, I think the ground staff have done very well, because the big thing is they've kept it dry, and they've kept the surrounds very dry in unbelievably difficult conditions.
Yeah, because the outfield really looked quite wet. There was some water lying around just over there, just off the main block, and I thought it was going to be so wet that they'd never get a start, really, but they have, and the pitch really has been very well protected, so the covers have done their job.
And it's the same pitch that was used for the New Zealand-Sri Lanka game, and it looks very similar. Probably been brought up a little bit with a bit of extra moisture, and because of the moisture, it just feels a little damper. But having said that, I think it'll play pretty well.
Well, don't be disappointed by the fact that there's no grass there, because in fact there was no grass here last time either, and it really played pretty well last time. I think, John, that they've got this a bit moister than last time, and I was talking to the ground staff earlier in the morning, and they said, well, they deliberately did that because they thought that the previous pitch was a little dry, the ball didn't come on quite so much, so they're expecting that it will be a bit quicker.
Yes. I don't imagine it'll have real pace, and it wouldn't have without the grass and that holding thing business, but I think that it'll play pretty well, and it'll be pretty fair for both sides.
So it was good last time, and we're looking for a very good pitch for this game that's abbreviated.
So it looks like a pretty good pitch, but unfortunately the weather today, a little bit dodgy. It's a delayed start, 3 hours late, and this game reduced now to 32 overs per side. Let's see what happens at the toss now. David Houghton and Mohammed Azharuddin, the 2 captains, are out in the middle with Grant Nisbet.
Well, gentlemen, it's amazing we're playing at all. Mohammed, you won the toss and decided to...
Yeah, because the weather has not been very kind all these days, and I think it's a good idea to bat first. You never know what's going to happen later on when it looks still overcast. But I hope it's rubbed off a very good game, but I'm sure this 32 overs will provide a lot of entertainment to the crowd here.
Okay, and an important game for you too, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very, very important for us, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you.
And David Houghton, you guys are always keen to play cricket, aren't you?
We are, but prefer to play 50 overs, but anyway, yeah, we are playing 32, and at least it's long enough to get a reasonable game out of it.
Now, if you'd won the toss, what would you have done?
I would have batted first, actually. I'm not quite certain of these rules. You know, last time we batted second, we thought we were on the right wicket, and we ended up having to chase about 10 and over, so I would have had a crack first at this, I think.
Okay, they do get a bit confusing, these rules, don't they?
They do for us.
Okay, all the best.
Thanks, Grant.
All right, here's the Zimbabwe team today. Shah and Flower to open the batting. Pycroft, Houghton, Waller, Campbell, Butchart the all-rounder, Brandis the opening bowler, Burmester the seamer, John Tricos the off-spinner, and Kevin Dew is the other seam bowler. The Indian team today, Jadeja and Srikanth, Azharuddin, Kambli, Tendulkar, Mandrake is their specialist batting lineup. Kapil Dev the all-rounder, Prabhakar the all-rounder, Kiran Moore the wicket-keeper, Srinath the pace bowler, and Venkatapati Raju is the left-arm spinner to complete the Indian lineup. So Mohammed Azharuddin has won the toss, remember, 32 overs per side, but the prospect of rain, I'm afraid, is around Hamilton today. Let's go to the early action then with India batting, and we pick it up in the early overs. The opening batsman for India today, in fact, turned out to be Chris Srikanth, and going in with him was Kapil Dev.
So Edo Brandis to open up, bowling to this man, Chris Srikanth,
who's had really a most disappointing World Cup and was once such a marvellous player.
First ball of the game, and not a bad one either. So winning the toss, India, and electing to bat, of course, different from a few years ago, when in these conditions you would have immediately bowled, but the rules have changed. And the first runs of the innings down to oh, he slipped over. Dear me, and that shows how wet it is down there, and it's gone through for 4. So allowed appeal, and umpire Julius Bulchins from Sri Lanka, unimpressed.
I thought that looked a jolly good shout. I wonder if he got a nick on it. It certainly was. I thought that looked plumb, and maybe the umpire felt that he'd got an inside edge on it. but it looked to me to be absolutely plumb.
Wasn't bad, was it? Goodness me, he wasn't even interested, was he? Oh, over the top, big hit, and that is 6. Superb hit. Chris Srikanth, not a big crowd here, but pretty obvious who they're supporting.
Well, Kapil Dev that was, and it was a marvellous stroke. Just like Ian Botham, watch it. I say a marvellous stroke. It was a bit of a sloggeroo, but he's a powerful player, and he hit it away over wide mid-on.
Oh, he slashes at that one, stands up, crashes it through the covers. Possibly could have gone anywhere, but it went in the right place and erased away before.
That was the Srikanth of old. It was a little over-pitched. He hit it beautifully. It was almost a slice drive, but he hit it so well. Golly, that was a lovely shot.
Yes, it was. He just stood up, didn't he? He just stood tall on it and bang. Kapil Dev. Oh, loud appeal, he's out. He's gone. Julius Bulchins with the finger high says, Kapil Dev, you're out. So Zimbabwe have struck. The first Indian wicket has fallen. Kapil Dev.
Well, that was a low full toss. It hit him on the ankle. He was hitting across the line, trying to work it away to leg. Hit him absolutely plumb. He was in line with middle stump, and there was not the least shadow of doubt about that. It would have knocked stump vision about 2 feet back or 2 yards back to the keeper.
It certainly would have. So India 23 for 1. For Kevin Dewars, tried digging it out, Srikanth. Didn't really time it that well, but he's got runs. They'll come back for 2. And I think that's all they'll get. He has a look for the 3rd, but no. So India not quite starting as they might have with this shortened game. Kapil Dev sent in to get things underway. He's gone. And Srikanth not really timing it as well as he might.
Srikanth hooking and playing it very well indeed, and it is going to be 4 runs. Dewars made a big effort sprinting around the boundary, but it was well struck by Srikanth.
Yes, we saw a shorter one earlier to Srikanth, and he looked to defend it, but now he's decided if it goes in short that the bounce here is high enough, and he's into that shot very quickly. A bit of a blink there, I noticed, a wince as he played it, but it wasn't that high, and very efficiently put away behind square for 4.
As though he's launching into a big cover drive, but he squirted it away for a couple. Down backward a point has Azharuddin. Oh, that's a great shot. He really hit that one, Azharuddin, and there was no doubt about where that was heading. 4 runs.
Yes, let's watch his feet here. He just basically stood where he was, launched at it. It was so full and straight that he really only needed to bring the bat through, and it was hit so quickly. This actually goes back in the air, which I hadn't noticed earlier. It did go back in the air and just sticking out a hand there.
Nicely played by Azharuddin. Beautifully struck off the back foot. The ball rather labouring to the boundary on the slow outfield, but it gets there, and that's 4 to the Indian captain.
Yeah, good shot here. It was a little wide of him, but he was certainly on top of it. Clipped it through the offside and didn't bother to move.
Azharuddin now on 12. India 43 for 1. Well, he might have got a little nick on that. Yes, he did. Went to play it on the leg side. A little nick. And there never seemed much doubt about it. They call on the umpire, though, to make the decision, and away goes Azharuddin.
Yes, umpire Bulchins just waited a little there, but let's watch short outside the off stump and just trying to pull it from there. Must have got a little bottom edge and a sneaky look at the umpire there, I suggest. So I think he knew he was on his way, and the second wicket down now for India, 43 for 2.
Oh, beautiful shot. The fieldsman got a bad bounce, but it was beautifully struck by Tendulkar. 4 runs.
we have some seats watching as well. And this shot here was certainly clipped. And watch how it bounces and almost hits cover on the head. He went down for it, almost to his peril. Oh, in fact, it bounced at least 2 feet over the top of his head.
That's nicely played too into the gap. Brandis has a big chase. I think he can give it up. Beautifully timed by Tendulkar. That's 4 runs, and up comes the 50 for India. They're 52 for 2 at the end of 10 overs. Swung away by Shrikant. There is a man down there. And you've got to get fairly firm footing. And Hughes looked a little uncomfortable lighting that one up, but he got it in the end. And 1 run for Shrikant. Very overcast here, quite threatening in fact. It's remarkable we haven't had any rain for a couple of hours in Hamilton. The forecast suggests that it was going to rain most of the afternoon. Let's hope not anyway. That's a nice shot. Down towards third man. Butchart saves well. Very good fielding indeed under difficult and trying conditions. And Ian Butchart did very well indeed. Shrikant over the top, big hit. And bouncing once and into the fence for 4.
Shrikant prefers to hit it over mid-off or straighter than that, but on this occasion, just pitching it a little bit, and it goes over long on. Just outside off stump, and getting the body weight coming forward into it, and 1 bounce.
He's after that. What a shot. Magnificent stroke. 4 runs.
Yes, I can't understand the field placement here. He hasn't got an offside sweeper. He's still got a gully in. And that was width. And didn't he cream it?
Tendulkar pulls on the onside. That'll be 4 more. This is a very good over for India.
Yes, short, and he leapt into that shot. Fairly loose bowling here. Tendulkar managed to get it more towards mid-wicket than square.
Shrikant's bowled. Burmester has his 2nd success. And Shrikant, after a very aggressive approach, is bowled by Burmester for 32. It's 69 for 3.
Well, that's Burmester's 2nd one-day international wicket, almost a Yorker, and that's got right through Shrikant. And Burmester, he is delighted. And he's bowled quite well, too, for Zimbabwe.
Well, they put the pressure on, but of course India know that they've only got 32 overs. They've used up 12 of them, and it's now 69 for 3 as Chris Shrikant leaves. An edge there. He didn't know much about it at all.
That's 4.
It's going to bring him 4. Really, that was a lovely ball from Burmester, and he can well rue his misfortune, because a little finer and Andy Flower might have made the catch.
Well, certainly a moral victory here to the bowler, but unfortunately in one-day cricket, very rarely do you have slips, certainly at this stage of the innings, and that's gone. That's rocketed to the boundary.
And that's one of the reasons, because he plays strokes like that all around the park. Oh, that's a bad piece of fielding.
Well, a big bonus for Tendulkar and India there. I mean, really, it's elementary to get some part of the body behind the ball. I mean, that's gone right through the gate, isn't it?
Down the ground, Mandrake goes, and that's a very good shot. There's no one back there protecting it long on. And Mandrake gets his first runs and a boundary, and a very good one. It's the end of the over. It's 85 for 3 now, 15 overs completed. He's got some marvellous shots. Oh, Tricos missing there badly in the gully. So the fielding's just letting them down a little bit right at this time. And Tendulkar profiting. He's 23 from 20 balls. And that's a lovely shot. That's going to beat Dewars, is it? Oh, no, he did it.
It's well fielded.
Marvellously.
Very well fielded, but it's still 3 runs. But that's very good commitment in the field, because that looked like 4.
His first ball just clipped away behind square. They'll get 1 at least, and that's all they'll get is Andy Pycroft. So there's the 100, the Indian 100.
make some ground towards the ball. I doubt whether he had much chance anyway. And Mandraker hits a straight 4, and the end of the over, 131 for 3. That's 23 gone now. As Ali Shah bowls. This is high in the air. He should be okay. Yes, he is, and gets 4 runs. Good hit by Tendulkar.
Yes, hitting across it and gets a bit of a top edge, but really went after this one. Not getting quite hold of it, and it was a steepler, but falling harmlessly between the two boundary fielders.
Goes again, big hit here. This could be his 50, and it's 6 runs. And Tendulkar bins up his 50 with a 6.
Yes, freeing his arms and looking to whack it over mid-on. It was certainly about a wedge, I would have suggested. But the wedge went at least 65 metres and just lobbed over the boundary.
Just made it over, as you could see. And so Sachin Tendulkar goes to 52.
And we see there the wagon wheel. We're doing it all from one end to make it, to simplify it for you.
Bang, 4 more. 18 off the over so far.
I wonder what the message was. Was it to try and hit every ball to the boundary for 4? We just watched the replay here. See, width, didn't get hold of it actually, only just got it over mid-on, but mid-on is up, and he hit it to the vacant spot. He would have known that that was his target.
Tendulkar launches into this one. That's 4. Tremendous timing.
Well, that's the one of the gaps I mentioned over mid-wicket. And he just waited for this. Just watch how he pauses. He got across there and fetched it. It was fairly low down, below waist high. He knew the gap was there. He had it in his mind, and there was only one place that was going.
Now Mandraker goes for the big hit. Could be caught, and that's well held. Good catch by Kevin Dewars. And away goes Mandraker. It's 168 for 4.
Trying to get it over extra cover, I fancy, not able to do that. And the way that this is caught is interesting. He's come down, given himself some room, and watch how he tries to take it reverse cup, and then the ball is so low he has to catch it in an orthodox manner. So he almost cocked it up there, but however, the Indians have lost their 4th wicket at 168.
Well, again, Tricos has bowled this over very well indeed. 4 balls gone, only 3 runs scored. Campbell, down he goes, and what's the story here? Is he stumped? He's wandering off. Or was he bowled? Let's have a look.
Pitching just outside off.
Just brushed the off stump, didn't it?
Well, I think it was bowled without question. Bale comes off before the ball sort of rebounds back.
So he's gone, bowled. So away goes Campbell. 1 run he got, 170 for 5.
Yes, well, that's very good running between the wickets, and of course the pressure is on with just a couple of overs to go. They've literally got to run for everything. At the very least, it's a runner ball, but of course those boundaries have still got to come.
Jadeja's down the ground too. He might be caught, is he? Ali Shah's got it. A marvellous catch by Ali Shah. It looked for a moment as if it might not quite have carried, but to compensate, Shah pushed himself forward, and Jadeja's gone. Caught by Shah, bowled by Tricos for 6. It's 182 for 6 now.
Well, this is Tricos' 3rd wicket. He's deserved it. He's bowled very well, but a bit of loft in there. That's a very good diving catch low down. It might be the one of Rod Latham dismissing one of the Australians just a week or so ago.
Jeff Marsh.
That's right. And so that's the 6th Indian wicket down, 182 for 6 in the 30th over.
Tendulkar. He might be out this time because Campbell's coming in for it. Will he get it? He does. The marvellous innings of Sachin Tendulkar's over. caught by Campbell out at backward point from the bowling of Burmester, and India now are 184 for 7 in the 31st over.
Well, a bit of an inside-out shot here, just trying to squeeze it, really. Probably trying to hit it around mid-on, but a bottom hand screwing it around. That's a very well-judged catch, too, and Burmester picks up his 3rd wicket for 30, and Tendulkar's innings has come to an end. 81 in 77 deliveries, 184 for 7 in the 31st.
Oh, he just gets it away from the keeper. Flower couldn't quite get it, and the thinnest of edges goes through to the boundary.
Well, that's probably why Srinath's out there, because if you look to drive and get an edge, I mean, no one's going to stop that. Obviously, no slip. Flower making a valiant attempt, of course, but the 3rd man is very, very wide. So that's always going to go for 4. But Srinath, he can hit 6s.
Well, India will be looking for at least 10, and they get one of them anyway. 5 balls remain. 191 for 7.
And I think Zimbabwe would be quite happy to have restricted India to round about this score, or 200, as we anticipate that they will get. And they will feel with 33 overs that they're in with a real chance. And certainly India are going to have to bowl and feel quite well. There's no doubt that Houghton is a key batsman there for Zimbabwe, and Waller and Flower and these blokes. They do have players who can get some useful scores.
Moore gives himself some room, and he gets over the top and does pretty well. It won't run.
Well, that's a typical Moore shot, giving himself a little bit of room. He's done that to a number of bowlers around the world. Look at that, gives himself a lot of room to go through the offside, and that's because the mid-off and the cover are up. And if he can get over or through that field, then invariably it's going to race away to the boundary for 4. So that's where he's likely to go.
Same thing, Brandis chases him and does pretty well. It was quicker too.
Yes, it was well bowled, and of course had Moray stood his ground, that ball would have gone down the leg side and probably been called a wide. But very good bowling, and very intelligent bowling too, because if the batsman does move, then the bowler has no alternative really but to follow him. There's always the danger, of course, that if you bowl at the stumps, the batsman's given himself enough room to free his arms and miscue it or try and hit it through that offside. So it's well bowled.
So Moray stood his ground that time, flicked him over mid-wicket. Campbell should get it. So just 2 balls remaining, and India have made 195 for 7.
Well, only 5 runs have come off this over, and if Brandis can keep it to another 2 or 3, then I think he's bowled it particularly well.
Royce goes high. It's a beautiful shot. That's over the top of Campbell. It's over the top of the boundary, and there's the 200 for India.
And Moray's happy with that too, because once it went over the boundary, he waved to his fellow supporters, fellow players in the stand. Really, he did hit that nicely. Just picked it up, got under it, well timed, and that cleared the boundary quite easily. So that makes an expensive over now. Still a ball to go, the last one.
11 runs taken, and Moray cracks him to backward point. Waller's there. Will they come back for the second, or the misfield will let that? So the innings is over. 32 overs we've had, and India have used up the allotted overs, with Kieran Moray having taken 13 from the last over bowled by Ido Brandis, and it's 203 for 7. So India, winning the toss, batting in 32 overs, have made 203 for 7 wickets.
Russell Neal, Stephen Lord, Joseph Lord, Gregory Steele, Stacey Gibbons, Duncan Hayward, Jonathan Mears.
Well batted India, 203 for 7 and 32 highly entertaining innings, 32 highly entertaining overs. And Sachin Tendulkar, the 18-year-old, the star of the show for the Indian team, 81 he made from 77 deliveries, a partnership of 99 he had with Sanjay Manjrekar, who was runner ball for 34. Treecamp hit well at the top of the order, and Kieran Moray took India over the 200 with that wonderful 6 over backward square leg. So Moray 15 not out, 203 for 7 in 32 overs. Let's take a look at the Zimbabwean bowling figures now. And there was 1 wicket for Edo Brandis, but he was pretty expensive, 13 coming from his last over. Kevin Jewers couldn't contain the Indian players. Mark Burmester did a little better, 6 and over, 3 for 36 from 6 for him. Ali Shah none for 38, and probably Zimbabwe's best bowler today was John Trakos, 3 for 30.
Almost set to go then in the Zimbabwe innings. And it's Ali Shah, the left-hander, facing Kapil Dev. So this should be a fascinating 32 overs from Zimbabwe. They certainly showed in the early stages of their innings the other day that they can push it. They just got a little behind in the end against New Zealand, and in the end folded quite dramatically, but they looked quite good early on.
Yes.
Nicely played here by Shah. He's going to get a couple. Remember, the fielding restrictions don't come off until the end of 9 overs. And so only 2 players allowed out. Single here taken by Andy Flower. He's going to look for a second. And he'll have to stretch, and he does stretch. The throw wasn't that flash anyway. And so 2 runs taken by Andy Flower. Well, Prabhakar started another over, and his most fortuitous shot by Ali Shah has got him 4 runs. It was a French cut. And he gets 4 for it.
Yes, the inside edge, under edge cut. Just defeating the stumps there. He's just trying to slash it off the front foot square on the offside, and very fortunate indeed to pick up 4 runs.
That's a nice looking shot. That's beautifully played. That's 4 runs.
Yes, well, after looking all at sea for a while there, we see a top shot this time from Ali Shah. Certainly wide, and just smashed it forward a point.
Pleasant looking drive for 1 run by Shah. They hit the stumps. Not out. Lovely throw. End of the over, 20 without loss. This will be 4 leg byes, I think. It really flew. Now let's have a look and see what the umpire's got to say. Yes, 4 leg byes. Kapil Dev appealed.
Yes, well, it looked like a good shout live. Well,
fairly adjacent, wasn't it?
It may have been slightly high, but certainly I think the batsman on this occasion got the benefit of any doubt there was.
There's giving away 4, although it might have just come from the pads of Flower. Yes, it was a leg by. But valuable runs for Zimbabwe. They have to put the pressure on right now. Over the top and backward square. I don't think they'll get to that. No, they don't. No chance for Srinath. That was well hit. Flower just picked that up beautifully, Richard.
Well, he did. You need 7 runs and over, so you're going to have to start playing a few shots, and that really is a typical left-handed chap, probably dragging it round from outside the off stump. It wasn't a bad delivery, but the shot itself was more than useful.
Just run.
That's well played by Flower. So Flower coming back
tight.
to the 30, he's going to have to hurry. Oh, he does it. Ali Shah had a good look to see that Flower was going to make his ground, but he was a bit worried about it. Camberley had come belting around from 3rd man. He had the ball back in a flash, and Flower decided to take it on.
He made a hash of that. I mean, he missed it for a start.
Yeah, but the throw.
Even so, it wasn't a great throw. Well, it's very wet out there now, Peter. Very wet indeed, but there has been sort of passing showers. It's been coming and going. But at the moment, it's not very healthy. They decide to play through it. Well, it won't be easy for the bowlers, that's for sure, let alone the fielders. And the batsmen could slip and slide out there. There's always the injury risk factor, of course.
It's a lovely shot. Raju's round there, though. Well, he fielded that well. Released it very quickly. Got a little clap from Mohammad Azharuddin.
Well, there's an interesting situation out here. The two umpires have conferred as to whether playing conditions are right for playing. The batsmen, I think, have been given the option as to whether they want to stay on, and Randall there having a talk to Azharuddin, and it looks as though they will be coming off, and that's bad news for India, and I'm sure that Azharuddin and the Indian side are very frustrated and disappointed with that decision, but at the end of the day, cricket is a fine game. It's not a wet game, and of course, if they play on, then really it makes, will put Zimbabwe into a situation whereby they're at a complete disadvantage.
I think they might go back, Richard, because it's not as bad now as it was when they talked about it between overs.
And that's probably a fair enough decision too. So this is what's happening out here. The weather, very inconsistent, and they're going to continue. Much to the delight of the crowd, particularly the Indian contingent that's here today.
Well, that must be a huge relief to Azharuddin. The ground staff are ready, but they're back into the hutch with the covers for the moment. And it's exactly right, too, because if they had come off, their chances of getting back out would be very slight with the way the weather's been hovering all day. So that's a hit over the top, which is going to bring up the Zimbabwe 50. He just clears Raju. And Shah going to 19. It's 51 for none.
Well, Azharuddin, he'd want to get these overs in.
Well, that's a good shot. Magnificent shot behind point.
Oh, swung away. Good shot from the left-hander. And one bounce over there at square leg. Driving. Oh, good-looking shot.
Well, that was a good run, wasn't it? And a bit misfielding. They should have gone quicker. That was bad cricket by the Zimbabweans. They didn't run the first two runs, I think, quick enough. They might have got a third, because there was a bit of misfielding.
Oh, it's bowled. Tendulkar. Clean bowls Ali Shah, going down the wicket, trying to get on with the job, misses, and back go the stumps. So the first Zimbabwean wicket has gone. Ali Shah for 31.
Yes, well, this was bound to happen. In fact, it just left the left-hander a fraction. But obviously, Zimbabwe have got to do all they can to get to this total of 204. And they've got to adopt desperate methods, and that's going to happen. Zimbabwe now 79 for 1.
So Andy Flower on 32. And he's got runs here. This might go for 4.
The neat tickle.
It has gone for 4. Yes, Srinath down there, unable to get round a long chase, just kept on going. So 4 more runs to Zimbabwe.
And of course, the great thing about this wetness is it does slightly even it up, because the ball must be like a cake of soap now.
And sweeping in the air, but safe. And again, oh, it's beaten the fielder down there.
I love that. That's the first elementary question. You never go square of a ball hit like that. You want to go find if it spins that way. How absolutely splendid.
Yes, Cambley down there. And as you say, it always kicks away, doesn't it?
He took a bit of a Cambley, didn't he, going with the way he did? Oh dear. And he took a bit of a tumbly.
So Andy Waller 4. And cracking it away behind point. That'll go close to 4, but has it? No, it hasn't.
No, he pouched that, the sliding tackle that has been made famous on these occasions.
So Zimbabwe keeping the score running along with Andy Waller. He can hit the ball. Good solid fellow. 8 off 4 balls there, so good start for him.
I wonder if this could be a game after all. Well, it is a game, but I wonder if it could be a really close one. It just could, you know. They're going well, and it's not easy for the Indians fielding, bowling in these conditions.
No, well, the ball will be very wet, won't it? So it'll be very difficult to hang on to. So they can really just try and bowl it down there. They can't do anything with it.
And the Indians have got to think, well, we've got a place in the semi-final that we could make, therefore we don't want our main bowlers, Prabhakar and Kapil Dev, to pull muscles.
No.
So they've got a bit something to work out.
think India might well be a threat before the end of this tournament. They've had an unlucky start, but that's the end of the over, 94 for 1. There we are, looking over Trustbank Park from a wee way away. Not much of a crowd in. It's been disappointing weather-wise, of course. I suppose the question, Henry, is whether we'll get a game in Auckland. I believe the weather's not too hot today. But tomorrow, the big game up there.
No, but the temperature, it's whether it rains or not is the problem, isn't it?
Oh, you are a smart fellow, aren't you?
I couldn't resist it, Mystery. You leave yourself wide open on occasion.
Thank you, Henry. It's lovely to have you along. Oh, trying to swing it away, but they'll pick up a single anyway.
Tell you what, he got out of that, it would have plopped into Lake Taupo, I think. He would have gone a very long way indeed.
Umpire Julius Bulchins from Sri Lanka.
Grant Nisbet tells me Lake Taupo's the other way, so it would have had to have gone off the leading edge.
Yes, you got that wrong, Henry. Oh, good ball. Beats the outside edge of Andy Flower's bat. So Zimbabwe now needing 8 and over, so it's slipping further and further away.
But look, at the same stage, interestingly, after 18 overs and 3 balls, Zimbabwe 96 for 1, India 99 for 3.
Well, just goes to show,
doesn't it?
But Tendulkar got that message, didn't he, with the gloves that came out, and all of a sudden he changed tack altogether, and bingo, the ball was hit to all corners of Trustbank Park.
And of course, he's good enough to change the emphasis of his batting.
He went up 2 or 3 gears.
So one wonders if the Zimbabweans can do likewise. But that's a fine stroke. It's going away for 4 runs, too. Srinath won't get that, I don't think. Is he?
He has.
No, is it rolled back? No, it's all right. It's just inside. And I think that's Kapil down there. I said Srinath, I'm sorry. My apologies to them both.
Well, that was very finely judged by Kapil there, because it's just a matter of an inch.
Well, he knew that the outfield was wet there, you see, and he put the right spin on it with his boot.
Very cunning.
Just stayed in, a bit of backspin.
It's raining again now, Henry, I see.
Well, it is very dark, isn't it?
I think the screen doesn't really tell the story with our lighting ability.
And that's going to be 4 runs. I don't think Kapil will get that. No, he won't.
So there's the 100 for Zimbabwe, and 103 for 1. So there we are, 103 for 1.